Now it's on.
Mr. Chair, the meeting was properly noticed.
Thank you. And as soon as I get to my agenda, which I don't have, I've got a paper copy here, though. Would you call the roll, please, Mr. Kalish?
Carroll,
Here.
Brewer,
Here?
Seep, McKee, Renish, Luck, Manning, Gotcho, Glassburner,
Here.
Rudersdorf, Gentis, Turk,
Here.
Cosgrove, Frank, Severson,
Present.
Williamson,
Here.
Cooey,
Here.
Fleming,
Here.
Boyce, and McGuire. You have a quorum.
Thank you. We have a quorum. We have a 6-point agenda, but we have 2 scratches. So we are taking out number 18 before you, the resolution approving Department of Health and Human Services applying for and accepting a treatment alternative and diversion TAD grant. We're removing that. And we're removing number 22, a resolution authorizing the Joint Ambulance Committee to purchase a used ambulance. So we have left then a 24-point agenda. I would appreciate a motion. Mr. McKee, seconded by Manning. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? We have approved the agenda. I think I skipped over the invocation, because I didn't see anyone here for the invocation, unless somebody wants to handle that. But we do have Kurt Kalich here who can lead us in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the States of America, to the republic which stands one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, thank you. So we have approved the agenda, the minutes of July 18. Does anyone have a correction, clarification, a change to those minutes? If not, I'm going to declare them approved as published. Public comment. Mr. McGuire? Well, you're asking the wrong guy, but with us tonight, we have the Beckers from Beckers Professional Services, Mr. Gary Becker and Katrina Becker, daughter Katrina Becker. And they are doing the economic development research for us. They've spent the day touring the campus, meeting with other people, and they are available if you want to talk to them. So make sure you do that if you have a question. Number 7, an ordinance relating to a parcel belonging to Andre Skiba in the town of Orion. Probably pronounced that wrong, Mr. Kalish.
This will be ordinance number 23-18, amendment number 578 to zoning ordinance number 5, that the following described 18.9 acre parcel belonging to Andres Skiba in the town of Orion is hereby rezoned from general ag and forestry to ag and residential district. This ordinance shall be effective on August 16th of 2023 and is being offered to you by the Land and Zoning Standing Committee on August 7th of 2023.
You've heard the ordinance. What's your pleasure? Mr. McKee, seconded by Mr. Cooey. And Mr. Bindle, did you have background for us?
The background on this parcel is that an existing parcel, bring it into conformity to have an Airbnb.
Thank you. Any question? All those in favor of this ordinance signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ordinance is adopted. Number 8, an ordinance relating to a parcel belonging to Harmony Valley Home, Alfred Turnmeyer in the town of Forest. Mr. Kalish.
This will be ordinance number 23-9, amendment number 579 to zoning ordinance number 5, that the following described 2.1246 acre parcel belonging to Harmony Valley Home and Alfred Turnmeyer in the town of Forest is hereby rezoned from general ag and forestry to residential 2 district, again effective on August 16th and brought to you by the same committee of Land and Zoning Standing Committee on June 5 of 2023.
You've heard the ordinance. What's your pleasure? Ms. Fleming? Seconded by Mr. Cooey. Mr. Bendel?
Background on this petition is that it's residents being split off with 2 acres. And the rest of the 35 acres would still stay ag forestry.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? All those in favor of the ordinance signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ordinance is adopted. Number 9, an ordinance relating to a parcel belonging to Susan and Brian Wilbrandt and David Edelman in the town of Westford. Mr. Kalish.
Ordinance number 23-20, amendment number 580 to zoning ordinance number 5, that the following 5.61 acre parcel belonging to Susan and Brian Wilbrandt and David Edelman in the town of Westford is rezoned from general ag and forestry to ag and residential, again effective August 16th of 2023 and offered to you by the Land and Zoning Standing Committee on August 7th of 2023.
You've heard the ordinance. What's your pleasure? Mr. Cosgrove and Mr. Okay, that guy back there with his hand raising in there. Mr. Cooey, and Mr. Rindle, can you give us some background?
The background on this parcel is that they're splitting off the 5 acres to build a new house.
Thank you. Any questions? All those in favor of the ordinance signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ordinance is adopted. Number 10, an ordinance relating to a parcel belonging to Owen and Susie Detweiler in the town of Dayton. Mr. Kalish.
This will be ordinance number 23-21, amendment number 581 to zoning ordinance number 5. The following described 24.23 acre parcel belonging to Owen and Susie Detweiler in the town of Dayton is rezoned from general ag and forestry district to ag and residential district, again effective August 16th and offered to you by the Land and Zoning Standing Committee on August 7th of 23.
You've heard the ordinance. What is your pleasure? Mr. Renish and seconded by Ms. Fleming. Mr. Bindle?
The background on this one is that the petitioner is splitting off 35 acres with the residents. The remaining 24.23 acres is vacant land that's being rezoned.
Okay, any questions? All those in favor of this ordinance, adopting this ordinance, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ordinance is adopted. Number 11, ordinance relating to a parcel belonging to Verlin Aspenson in the town of Orion. Mr. Kalish.
This will be ordinance number 23-22, amendment number 582 to zoning ordinance number 5, that the following described 6.153 acre parcel belonging to Verlin Aspenson in the town of Orion is rezoned from general ag and forestry to ag and residential district effective August 16th of 2023 and is offered to you by the Land and Zoning Standing Committee on August 7th of 23.
You've heard the ordinance. Let's get it before us. Mr. Cooey, seconded by Mr. McKee. Mr. Bindle.
Just to add also with this parcel rezone request, there's 1.2 acres that's going to commercial.
Thank you. Questions? All those in favor of this ordinance signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ordinance is adopted. Mr. Bindle, while you're there, do you have a report on petition for zoning amendments received since the last county board session?
There's a petition by Laverne and Jennifer Ortiz to rezone 14 acres from agricultural forestry and ag residential to ag residential in the town of Orion, section 16.
Okay, and how about rezoning petitions recommended for denial?
Nothing for denial.
Okay, thank you. Number 14, a resolution recognizing the service of a county board supervisor Mr. Kalish.
This will be resolution number 23-79. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that the county board hereby expresses its sincere admiration and appreciation to Mr. Sean Murphy Lopez for his years of dedicated service to Richland County as the Richland County Board Supervisor for District Number 2. Be it further resolved that the county board wishes Mr. Murphy Lopez the best in his future endeavors. Be it further resolved that the county clerk shall send a copy of this resolution to Mr. Murphy Lopez at his home address, and that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. This is being offered to you by the Finance and Personnel Standing Committee on August 2nd of 2023.
You've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure? Ms. Fleming, Mr. Turk makes that motion, seconded by Fleming. Mr. Turk, why don't you handle a discussion?
Sure. Sean Murphy Lopez recently resigned from the board due to pursuing some other opportunities. Wanted to take the occasion to thank him for his service, his passion, his dedication that he brought. I personally would not say I always agreed with Sean, but he certainly put forth all kinds of effort and dedication into his service, and I'm pleased to offer a resolution to recognize that.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Seep.
No.
No.
No. There you are.
Thank you. I believe very strongly in public service as a civic duty. And I believe that Sean Murphy exemplifies the kind of civic duty that we'd like to see more of in our community. It's true that some of Sean's ideas were not necessarily supported by all, but he was a man of conviction on this board. He worked harder than anyone I know of in the time that I saw him here. So he is an example to our board, and he's an example to the community of what good citizenship is all about. So I join Mr. Turk in thanking Sean for his service to our county, and he will not be forgotten. Thank you.
Anyone else? All those in favor of the resolution recognizing the service of Sean Murphy Lopez signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The resolution is adopted. Number 15, relating to the county obtaining a tax deed to certain tax delinquent real estate in the city of Richland Center. Mr. Kalish.
This will be resolution number 23-80. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted for the county to execute and issue a tax deed in favor of Richland County to the following described parcel of real estate in the city of Richland Center, which is known as tax parcel number 276-1673-7000, as to which the county owns and holds the following unredeemed tax certificates for the following tax years. They are listed there before you in the chart. This resolution is being offered to you by the Public Works Standing Committee on July 13th of 2023.
Thank you. You've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure, Mr. Manning? Seconded by Barb Voice. Do we need any explanation here? Is Mr. Eben here? He is. County Treasurer Jeff Eben.
What would you like to know?
I don't know. Have we gone through the process that we need to go through? And
Yep, we're to the point where the county board would need to approve taking this on tax deed. The oldest tax certificate is from tax year 2012. We currently hold $26,000 in tax certificates for this property, so it is well time for us to take action on this.
yes, thank you. Okay. Yes, Mr. Severson.
Mr. Chair, what does schoolcraft mean?
I think it's the name of the subdivision, maybe. I don't know. Mr. Eben?
Can you hear me now? I just know it's part of the legal description. I see schoolcraft pop up in various legals in the city of Richland Center. that would be a question for our property lister or Sue Triggs. But it's just part of laying out the plat of land.
Yeah. Part of the legal description. Okay, all those in favor of obtaining the tax deed signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The resolution is adopted. A resolution creating a public health specialist position in the Department of Health and Human Services. Mr.
This
Kalish.
will be resolution number 23-81. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted for the above listed position. And be it further resolved, that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. This is being offered to you by the Finance and Personnel Standing Committee on August 2nd of 2023.
Thank you. What's your pleasure? You've heard the resolution. Mr. Cooey, seconded by Ms. Glassbrenner. Trish is here. There she is. You moved. You want to handle it, please, Trish
Yeah,
Clements, our Director of Health and Human Services.
so in our public health unit, we had 2 vacancies for nurse positions and they've been vacant since February. We were finally able to hire 1 nurse and she is starting at the end of this month. But because we've been unable to fill the positions, we communicated with neighboring counties and many of them have created a public health specialist who can do a lot of the duties of the public health nurse, not everything. And so we feel this will be an easier position to fill.
And as an addition, I think comparing salaries and everything, we actually save money
Yes, we would.
by
Yeah.
taking this route. Okay, you've heard the resolution. It's before us. You've heard the explanation. Are you ready to vote? All those, Barb, voice.
I'd like to know, does this position have to be certified in anything?
They would not. No, they would not have to be certified in
So-
anything.
If they're taking the place of a nurse, what are their responsibilities going to be?
So the duties, they would do some of the animal bites. So when there's a animal bite order that we have to follow up on, they're able to do environmental health. They are able to do some of the communicable disease tracing that has to happen. They can oversee like our chicken or chaw. So the community health needs assessment and then following through with the community health improvement. I'm so sorry if that's me. Community health improvement plan. Those are some of the things they're able to do.
Okay,
Thank you.
answer your question? All right. Any other comments? All those in favor of this resolution signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The resolution is adopted. Number 17, a resolution approving the Department of Health and Human Services applying for and accepting a 2024 Coordinated Services Team Initiative Grant. Mr. Kalish.
This will be resolution number 23-82. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted for the Health and Human Services Department to apply and accept a Coordinated Services Team CST initiative grant administered by the Wisconsin Department of Health Services in the amount of $60,000. Be it further resolved that the grant requires a $12,039 county match. And be it further resolved that approval is hereby granted for the grant funds to be spent in accordance with the terms of the grant. And Director of Health and Human Services, Ms. Tricia Clements, is hereby authorized to sign on behalf of the county any documents necessary to carry out the resolution. Be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. And this is being offered to you by the county board members of the Health and Human Services and Veterans Standing Committee on August 13 of 2023.
You've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure? Mr. McKee and Ms. Fleming. Trish, you're back there. So
Okay.
tell us about this.
So this is a grant that we apply for every year. It is, what it does is it provides a team approach to individuals who are involved in 2 or more, for children who are involved in 2 or more systems of care, just to provide some wraparound services and making sure they don't fall through the cracks.
Thank you. Okay, some we do every year. Doesn't mean we don't have to approve it and review it, but we do it every year. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The resolution is adopted. Thank you, Trish. And number 18, we've scratched, so. Number 19, a resolution making a fund transfer to the Richland County Fair Fund 68. Mr. Kalish.
This will be resolution number 23-84. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval of $15,000 is hereby temporarily transferred from the general fund to the Richland County Fair Fund 68 for use by the Fair Recycling and Parks Committee in conducting the 2023 Richland County Fair, with this appropriation being for a period of 90 days. Be it further resolved that the resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. And this again is being offered to you by the Finance and Personnel Standing Committee on August 2nd of 2023.
You've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure? Mr. Manning, seconded by Ms. Lesbrenner. Sorry, Mr. Carroll, I'll get to you the next time. You've been eating up at the Wildcat Inn lately? Okay, I ran into him in, of all places. All right. You've heard the resolution and we have a first and a second. And somebody want to explain this? It's something we do every year to get the fair going. No? Carrie, do you want to say anything? No comment? Oh,
Like Jason's got it.
oh, you're being
I'm watching
unusually
him.
quiet back.
He turns it down. But, this is just the startup cost. I believe it's 15,000. That we are, it's just to get money for the gates, to be able to take money for there and to pay for the carnival and to pay for other things that we need just to get going. And then we normally try to give you that money back, but like last year, you know, we had those couple rain days and we weren't able to get that money back, but.
Yeah, thank you. While we're talking about the fair, I would encourage all of you to get signed up for volunteer work at the fair. Okay, I'm signed up. I got the big night, the front gate, so. All right, you've heard the resolution, something we do every year. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, resolution is adopted. Resolution creating number 20, a new computer policy. Mr. Kalish.
This will be resolution number 23-85. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that the Richland County computer policy is hereby amended by adopting the attached policy. Also be it further resolved that the resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. And this is being offered to you by the Finance and Personnel Standing Committee on August 2nd of 2023.
Thank you. You've heard the resolution. What is your pleasure? Mr. Williamson seconds. And I think Barb is probably going to say something if I let her, invite her to, would she?
So we haven't updated the county computer policy since 2018. I believe the crosswalk is in your packets as well. We needed to do a complete revamp of the policy. It was very out of date and there are significant changes. Things that were changed and now are just, it has more enforcement to it. And it's very clearly spelled out what the expectations are. We have run this past the Public Works Committee, which is who MIS reports to, and past Finance. Both have given it their full support, as well as our new administrator, Candace.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from anyone? All those in favor of the resolution creating the new computer policy indicate by voting aye. Aye. Opposed? The resolution is adopted. Number 21, a resolution amending the county handbook and sheriff's addendum for jail staff. Mr. Kalish.
This will be resolution number 23-86. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that the edits to the county handbook and the sheriff's addendum to reflect the changes detailed in the memorandum of understanding to better reflect the 12-hour shifts associated compensations. Be it further resolved that the county board chair and the county administrator are hereby authorized to sign a memorandum of understanding in accordance with this resolution. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. This is being offered to you by the Finance and Personnel Standing Committee on August 2nd of 2023.
You've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure, Mr. McKee? Ms. Voice?
Sheriff Porter's online.
Sheriff Porter, you're online. Tell us about this, please.
Yeah, so can you hear me all right?
Yes.
This is the, I guess, the continuation of what we started at the last meeting where you approved the union to do basically a similar MOU. That was amending the collective bargaining agreement or a side letter to the collective bargaining agreement. This is extending those same benefits to the jail staff.
Does this include the 12-hour shifts, Sheriff?
Yep, yeah, they've been working the 12-hour shifts for like almost exactly a month now in the jail. And this is just adjusting their benefit accrual to match that.
Right, thank you. Okay, everyone understand what's being done? All those in favor of the amendment of the county handbook and the sheriff's addendum for jail staff signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The resolution is adopted. Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you.
Number 22 was scratched. Do we have any appointments? No. Do we have an administrator's report?
Now? Okay. So you all should have received my report in your packets. First and foremost, I just wanted to thank everyone for the warm welcome I have received. The department heads have been absolutely outstanding in working with me and welcoming me here, as have several of you supervisors. I've met with some, and I intend to try to set up meetings with all the rest of you now that things are settling down a little bit, although I shouldn't say that because we're right in the middle of budget, but we're getting through it. So I do appreciate all of that. Finance and Personnel has met, and I just listed a few of the items that were discussed. Interdepartmental billing, approval of fund transfer to the fair, which you just now approved. The public health specialist position, the 12-hour shifts, the revised computer policy, and a review of the current procedure of employee reclassifications. We're trying to centralize that a little bit more and ensure that the county administrator is involved in all reclassification processes. Rules and strategic planning did not meet this month, but is planning to meet next month. And we have a few items for that agenda already. Economic development, as you can see, the Beckers are here. So that is the biggest news. We have met with the city a couple of times and the Red Board a couple of times just to continue our discussions and build collaboration, because if we are to get anywhere with economic development, we really all need to be on the same page and working together. So John and I have been working through that. The budget process. I know this is a new process for all of you, but it is going extremely well. We have met with every department head at this point, and we have a preliminary idea of what we're looking like. We do have some questions for some department heads, and so we will be calling a few back, and then we will be presenting to all of you after that. So we will have a PowerPoint and we'll go through the high points and the low points and the information that we've discovered through our process. Organizational review. One of the things that I've talked a lot about is creating efficiencies and being more effective as an organization as a whole and removing the silos. And we have quite a few silos. And so we're working towards streamlining processes. And in order to do that, John and I are exploring what other counties are doing. We're talking to departments and we're identifying areas where we think we could potentially streamline, merge, slim down, those sorts of things. And so we do plan to bring some of those suggestions to committees going forward. The UW campus, for those of you who were here earlier, there was a campus reconfiguration meeting. Michael is in contact with the campus or the UW system. We are really trying to decide how to prioritize different items and how we move forward in this process. One of the really urgent decisions and things that we have to look at is getting ready for winter. So we did set our next meeting for September 13th at 6 p.m. and the Campus Reconfiguration Committee will do a walkthrough of the campus at that time. If there are additional members that would like to do that, please let us know and we could go ahead and we could post that as an actual meeting if there are others that want to do a walkthrough. The preliminary net new construction numbers are out and came in at a 0.92% increase. So nothing significant there, but that will have an impact on our budget process. And other items of note. So I continue to attend as many meetings and events as I'm able. I attended the Fire Chiefs meeting in Blue River. I attended National Night Out here in Richland Center. I've met with Troy from Southwest Wisconsin Regional Planning Commission. I've attended some grant committee meetings, weekly radio tower updates, and the weekly administrator/coordinator leadership meeting, and the WCA weekly meetings when I can. In addition, I am also registered to attend the WCA conference in September. I know a few of you have registered. It is past the early bird deadline date, but if there are those of you that would like to attend, please let myself or Clerk Kalish know. And there's more, but that's just a brief overview of what we work on a day-to-day basis. So John probably has a few items as well.
Mr. Chairman.
John, do you have?
I do. Just a couple things. Candace mentioned that Gary and Katrina were here today, spent the entire day here. It is our intent that they would come back and do a presentation at the September 19th board meeting. So we're just asking that if you have any ideas, any conversations that you want to have, feel free to reach out directly to Katrina or to Gary, or if there's anything you want to submit to us, to Candace or I, and we will make sure that the Beckers receive that information. So again, don't wait until September 19th because we want to do the presentation on the 19th. Second item was that we've talked about this in the past, but the UW Systems has requested that the county purchase or procure the technology necessary for Melville Hall to move UW Extension there. I sent the invoice to the UW Systems on July 31st. A couple of days after that, they informed us that they would be paying us. And yesterday morning, we were informed that the check is in the mail. So once we receive that check from the university, then we will inform MIS, and MIS will do the installation of everything that's required for UW Extension to function in Melville Hall, and then that move will occur. So we just wanted to update everyone on that. And then a final thing, and this is not directed towards any particular supervisor or to any committee or committee members, and that is we're respectfully requesting that if you are unable to attend a meeting, that out of respect for your colleagues and for the county staff and for the public as well, that if you are unable to attend a meeting, we're asking, please let the clerk's office know that you cannot make it. And I know we're preaching to the choir here. And it's fine, if you're meeting remotely, that's fine. But if you cannot make a meeting, because we have been dealing with some quorum issues, and we don't want to delay action on items that need to be acted upon. So again, we're respectfully requesting that if you are unable to attend any committee meeting, we really haven't had an issue for quorums for county board meetings, but we would ask that you would do that, please.
Thank you, Mr. Holkmer, and thank you, Administrator Pesh. This is another record meeting we're closing in on. So since you arrived, we just would. I'm sure that may come to a screeching halt, and months to come, but tonight I like it. Any correspondence to share?
None.
Thank you. Mr. Manning? Second, Julie Fleming, all those in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.